Hey everybody. Well, a little bit of an update. We haven't gotten too much further with the Buick. It's together. It's now moving oil. However, I do have the oil filter adapter on. I have a temporary gasket. We are going to put a pressure gauge on here to see exactly what the pressure is cold right now as it's moving some oil. But before it leaves, TechRod back here, I wanted to get a little bit of video on. This is my buddy Lou's car. He built sometime back in 2008 on very little. Very little. It was pretty much put together with free parts and some labor bartering and lots of his own blood, sweat, and probably some beers. And it's come a long way, and the fact that it's even still around is amazing. What we ended up doing with it was I ended up putting the electric power steering in it from the Volvo Ford stuff. We did a whole new cooling system to get the fan on the other side. What this is a 1983 up Ford Ranger V8 radiator, and this is going to work out real well for those that need a lower driver inlet and a upper passenger outlet for a lot of the front wheel drive style swaps. Drops right in. Be a great radiator for it. We had to make a whole new bracket for the alternator, something a little more secure, a little bit more lightweight. We managed to keep his turnbuckle set up, and then I added the idler over here. Eventually he's going to have cruise control on it. That's in here sitting ready, but it needs a different type of cable. We got the front suspension down where it should be, where it now rides really nice. The front brakes are the GM drum hubs with the Grand Dam calipers and rotors and caliper brackets. Now there was a lot of geometry changes that went into this to get it so it wasn't either dragging the rotor or hitting the wheel. Managed to get it all figured out, but since we went through the trouble to get this done, I had also come up with the other 5-lug swap that we're using on this one that uses S10 stuff, and this by far is a far superior brake setup. It's cheaper. It's just as easy to get parts for, has probably a better aftermarket, and it gives you a little bit better wheel selection because the offset, you can get a little bit deeper offset wheel up front with that than you can with this one. This one requires the late model F-body or Corvette style wheel, or a front wheel drive offset. While we were doing that, we also went ahead and went to what a lot of people probably notice as the Willwood kit, or a lot of the aftermarket kits go with that Mopar master cylinder. We just went directly with the Mopar master cylinder, and I machined a couple adapter rings to get that to work. The other thing that we did was, because these Chevettes don't have delay wipers, or, well, they do have delay wipers, excuse me, they don't have readily available wipers, because that was a rare option. We did the S10 wiper motor swap, and that consists of the wiper motor switch that has the delay on the stock. You swap that into the column. You might need to clearance a little bit for the right-hand turn signal. It's a little tight with that different switch in there, on some columns. Sometimes you don't need to do it at all. There's a couple wires that get switched around, and then there's a plate that you make that fills in the hole, and then this just bolts right in its place. The shaft on this is slightly larger, however, so you'll have to enlarge the hole to get the wiper transmission shaft over it correctly. Other things we have done was the floorboard is now done. I put a whole new floor in this. The welder was fighting me the entire time, but I got it done. So I'm getting ready to put the carpet in it right now. I'm getting ready to put the seat back in it, and then I'm going to rough the alignment in. I'm letting it run long enough to get the temperature in the oil because I'm getting ready to do an oil change on it. Lou is actually en route right now to come get this car. For those of you that haven't seen the rest of it, I'll show you here in a minute. There's been a lot of updates for those that have seen this car. He went to an LED style headlight system that I got to aim. There are custom built LED taillights in here. They're not going to show up real well on camera because they don't show up real well in the daylight. He's going to go to a different LED setup at some point, a little bit brighter. When the brake lights are on though, they're sequential from inner to outer, and so are the turn signals. And then of course he still has the onboard computer system running the Windows program on it, which is with his touchscreen computer that my boy got to play with on the way to and from school for a couple days. He got to play with Jules on it when I picked him up. So there's a few things coming along. He's gonna plan on updating this a little bit more as time comes. It now has, oh, we also put a tilt column in it. So he has some more plans to bring it back. We're going to get that engine down and back further, which will open up a lot of space up here in the front. It'll also allow a lot more hood clearance right in this area, which will allow a bit more favorable area here, angle for the air filter rather. Aside from that, that pretty much covers Lou's car. Again, like I said, he's on his way, so I'm gonna jump off here and finish this up real quick. I got a little bit of an alignment to rough in yet. And then as soon as I got that done, I'll get you guys back on here and I'll show you some more of what's going on with this and Scooter right now. Well, as promised, I'm going to get you in here. And obviously I've already run this oil all through the system. I have every one of these rockers receiving oil flow. It's just flowing nicely off the shafts and back into the heads, back into the pan. And it's instant oil pressure. And this is with very slow drill speed. Look at that. I am barely turning that drill. I don't think oil pressure is going to be an issue with this engine. So, as long as the cam brakes in fine, which is what I'm crossing my fingers for, that's all we got to worry about. Looks like the filter housing, lost my train of thought. The filter housing has worked out really good, and it does absolutely have a great oil pressure port. I don't even know that I'm going to need a locating pin, quite honestly. And these engines, even with big cams, aren't known for being super rowdy and full of vibration. So we'll see how it goes. Worst case, it just does have a good spot for it. But I think if I torque this down, I think it'll be fine. I got an extra gasket in case I have to take this off to put the engine down in there smoothly, but that will definitely land right in that spot. So I'll be looking at getting another filter, either longer or bigger or both. As much filtration as we can get, as much oil capacity as we can get. As of right now, this thing has 4.5 quarts plus an additive package. Just a quarter of a quart, maybe a half a quart. full. After filling everything up, and the filter filling up, it's right on the money. So I don't even have to adjust the stick, which is good. So everything's gonna work out real good. Now I just gotta finish it up. Alright, well, we're still waiting on the starter. There was a issue with the starter. It actually would have been here a couple days ago, but it got shipped to a different address. So I'm just plugging away on the little stuff at this point. It still wouldn't have been quite any further than it is now. But either way, I still needed to get all this stuff done. So I have the air filter housing done, painted, ready to go. That's the Chevette wing nut off of the Chevette air filter housing. I gotta shoot some paint on it, but it's good to go. The Chevette wire looms actually fit the Buick valve covers. I have to bend a new line. Obviously, I was trying to figure out the routing for the hard line, but I got it routed. Coolant temp sensor and the coolant bypass hose should be here tomorrow in the morning. Oil pressure sending unit is the only thing I need to get. The Chevette sending unit will work for the choke side of things, and I have to get a T right here and run the PS140 for the gauge. I then also have to find the block plugs I took out and put them back in here real quick, and then throw the motor mounts back on it. So it's good to go there. And then where is it? Right here. This right here is on the back of the intake manifold, like so. I actually need it to go this way, or maybe this way. So what I'm going to do is cut it off flush, drill and tap that hole for a 90-degree 5/8 heater hose fitting, and then I'm going to stick it back on there. Obviously I have to get that bolt out, but we're coming along. So PCV grommet, I also have to locate a PCV grommet and get it coming so I can use the Buick PCV valve, and then I got to route that over to the carburetor. I also have the electric choke coil that hasn't arrived yet, that is on its way. I didn't have any that were really worth using, so it's sitting here prepped, it's ready. I just got to pull the rest of that rivet out of that hole and then run a tap through all 3 holes and put the new one on. So we're there. So close to making noise, it ain't funny. Obviously these aren't going to fit the car, but I dug them out of storage just so I can throw them on the car and hear it run. That way we can get this engine broken. Tomorrow in the morning I am going to get Scooter's old engine off the run stand, and we're going to get the 215 on there and ready to fire up and break in. So I think I'm going to break the first engine in ever that engine run stand has ever seen, that wasn't just sitting there for mock-up stuff. That'd be really cool. Actually see it get used. So in the meantime, I have things like this alternator spacer that need to be cut down about this much. I have 2 more alternators outside in the CRV that are 78 amp alternators that have much cleaner cases than this, that are going to get prettied up to put on here. And then I still have to paint the pulleys. I'm probably going to have that done this evening. Well, no, I can't do that this evening because it's too late to cut that one. I have to finish cutting the second pulley off the back of that one and then paint it. So tomorrow morning. Back on things here soon. The parts just keep rolling in. We finally got the starter. It wasn't the 24 to 48 hours like I was hoping, but we got it. And I got a little fitment issue. It's just the bolt holes. They're off like a millimeter. So I'm going to just shave the holes. It'll be fine. The gear lines up with the flywheel fine. I've got the brass fittings to get both the oil pressure sending unit and the oil pressure switch onto that port. I'm about to do the timing marks on the balancer because this originally had a cast-in timing mark that is now moved to the other side because this is a 300 timing cover, not a 215 timing cover, because 215 timing covers don't exist anymore. I've got the plug wires on, I've got the manifolds on. I'm getting ready to find the pipes that I've got over in the corner that will work on these. I just got to finish up this intake. And I'm waiting on the distributor parts, which is the cap and rotor. Because that's not the distributor that's going in there. That's just a placeholder for the hull. I'm waiting on that. I'm waiting on the PCV grommet. Boy, I gotta... What all do I have on here? Oh... I think the oil pressure sending unit will be here in a couple days. The vacuum advance. The vacuum advance, because the vacuum advance that was in the distributor that I have set up for HEI is bad. So originally it was just looked like it was rusty, but it doesn't hold vacuum. So I got it over. Where do I have? Oh, it's in the house. I thought I had it out here, but yeah, just plugging away at it. Everything just keeps coming in, and I'll just keep throwing it on here. I wanted to hear it this weekend. Yeah, considering Sunday's the 3rd, and I'm not expecting all my parts till the 5th, that's not going to happen. So that gives me some time. That just leaves me the time for the details. So, little by little, day by day, soon. Got that second pulley machined out of the, I say machined. I sat on the floor over there with angle grinders and took it out. But at any rate, it's out. So now I have to re-drill that pattern to the smaller GM pattern. As you see, they don't quite line up. So I can either slot these holes, or I can turn it and re-drill the pattern. I haven't decided which I'm going to do yet, but either way, that's going to end up black with 4 new holes in it, or 4 slotted holes, and that's good to go. And then I just got to wire wheel the ever-living hell out of that one, because crank pulleys for these engines don't exist. That one's a little thin, so I'm going to cross my fingers. It's alright. And then as far as running this, like I said, I'm just going to take pipe that fits up over that little flange right there. I'm just going to weld a couple tabs to it so I can run the bolts through it. And I'm going to run these out to a couple bends I have to a couple mufflers. That'll let me not wake the dead, even though I don't particularly care. I don't want to drive my neighbors completely nuts, because most of them are cool. Just have the one across the street that's kind of cantankerous, but he'll get over it. So I think I have a couple cherry bombs in storage, but if not, I'll just throw those on the floor. Good luck here by next weekend. You know, I keep saying that. I never really have a good time date because life and everything else comes up and gets in the way. But at any rate, we have parts coming by the 5th. I should have everything here by the 5th. And so at that point, there's no excuses for this thing not to run. I think tomorrow, while I'm waiting on parts, I'm going to go get the master cylinder put in this car. I have the later model master cylinder sitting here ready to swap. I have the other lines to go from it to the proportioning valve, because I don't know who did these last, but they need their hand slapped. Might as well do that while it's out, because I can get in there and work. So I'll probably paint in there a little bit, and I think that's it for now. So in the meantime, until parts show up, I guess I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. So that's the update. It's short. Keep the shiny side up.